This started all the way back at in Germany, Bayern and Dortmund. And I believe that Pep felt that despite how strong Bayern are, the players that they have, they always had issues with Klopp's Dortmund. And I think Pep knew deep down that Klopp's philosophy is an antithesis to his philosophy. They're both similar. We want to attack, we want to score goals, and we promote and want our guys to go forward. And for me, unlike with Mourinho, Pep respects Klopp. And I think Pep has a great respect for Klopp because I think for Pep, it's first of all, you're an attacking team, you want to play, and you generally give us problems in a way that I can respect because of how you want to come out and play and score goals. So it's a rivalry where both guys respect one another. I believe. But I think in Germany, you could definitely see that Pep was like, yeah, these guys, the way that they attack the space and the way they try to exploit our high line and exploit how I want my guys to always push forward, maybe this was an issue. The only unfortunate thing here was Klopp kept on losing players. He kept on losing his guys, whether it would be he'd lose Götze, he'd lose eventually Gundogan, lose Lewandowski, almost. They kept on losing guys, more specifically to Bayern. So I think it would have been an awesome rivalry if both guys kept each other because those were two amazing teams. Like Klopp's team, I would say that's one of my favorite teams of the last 10, 15 years was Klopp's Dortmund side. And that binding team for Pep was amazing. How he did win a UCL for those guys was amazing. So I think this really goes back to Germany. I think when Pep got to England, he was like, finally, I've escaped this dude. But then once Klopp now found his way to Liverpool, it's like, oh man, this dude is back. And I think that they're both similar. And I do think that these guys like each other. You see, for me, this is an interesting photo here. Because this is something that Pep wouldn't do with Mourinho. No way. Like these guys wouldn't. The only way that Pep would actually come in physical contact with Mourinho is how you have to shake the guy's hand and therefore. This shows that Pep respects Klopp. He respects him, and Pep recognizes that this is I like this challenge. I like the challenge because Pep respects how they play. It's different. You have a team like Klopp and Liverpool. Liverpool want to attack. They want to go forward. They want to go direct. You give the ball to Trent. Trent hits that ball straight. So Trent is looking for that cross into the box. You look at that front three. They're trying to find ways of going forward. So there is a real urge to go forward. For Pep, take the ball, pass the ball. Take the ball, pass the ball. It is full, unadulterated trust in movements of the ball. That as long as we keep moving the ball, we will find that space. So it is a deep focus into managing to just move the ball and trying to find those spaces. So it is a very fascinating time because you see, with Pep and Mourinho, it was attack versus the defense, which was cool. I mean, it's always interesting to see what wins out, attack and defense, which is why I always say that the Brazil-Italy rivalries were always interesting because of, attack, defense, which wins. But I think when you saw these games, it was like one team is really trying to play, another team just holding a team and then just countering. Whereas with with this one, the games are really interesting. Hence why it is amazing where we are right now with Liverpool and Man City. Because the stars are aligning for a truly fascinating season where I can't call it. April 10th, I believe, we hope that they both win their games. I think Liverpool against Watford, City against Burnley. That's going to be a huge game at the Etihad. You have that FA Cup semi-final that they both play in as to who will meet either Chelsea or Palace in the final. Then you have the very true possibility that they could meet each other in the Champions League final. I mean, we could have one of the great endings to a season involving two teams that I think we've ever had. It's possible. Like, imagine if you have a scenario where Klopp and Pep, Liverpool and City play a UCL final, they play an FA Cup semi, and they have a showdown in the league. Like, it would almost been too perfect. Because that's, I always think that these things are rigged, draws are rigged. It would have probably been so perfect if Liverpool and City were separated in the FA Cup semis and they could meet in the FA Cup final. Then they'd be like, oh no, this is mad. But I think that's why this is such an interesting rivalry, you know. And I say to myself that, you see, this rivalry, I believe, is similar to this one. I believe this rivalry is similar to this one here. I believe it's similar to because I think it's this is much closer to this rivalry here because I think there is respect of both guys. Klopp respects just how consistent that team is and just how they're able to control games and the extremely high levels that they've taken the game and just the crazy challenge. Because I think, because see, we've not really had an all or nothing, and I don't. So we've seen Pep comments on Klopp. We've not really seen Klopp comments on Pep, but I would assume that Klopp is like, no, I have to respect how good these guys are and the extremely high levels that these guys have reached. There is nothing of Klopp to really hate on Pep, you know. But where they differ from this rivalry is, I think Wenger and Fergie's philosophies were pretty different in how they got their teams to play, you know. But I think that it's a little bit much more closer in philosophy with your boy Pep and so forth, man. So what was also called? It's interesting, and that's why just from an honest member of viewing it is great because a great rivalry. That's like the Bayern Munich Darwin rivalry now is not great. A truly amazing rivalry. It's like how guys were trying to sell that bomb-ass Serena and Sharapova rivalry. Man, Serena lubricates and beats down Maria Kraparova every single time. But what makes a rivalry amazing is we don't know who's going to win. It could be either or. And I think with Liverpool and City, it is genuinely 50-50. You can't call it. It's like a flip of a coin, and that is what makes it so fascinating and amazing to watch. And I think that here's the thing. I think Pep is more visible in his desperation to say what's up than Klopp. But you can see Klopp tries to hide it, but he's not that great of a poker player. Because when you even see him in interviews, you can just see how that bit of desperation comes out. That little bit of desperation comes out in him, man. But let's keep it real. Like, for Pep, like, this is one of the most iconic, this is one of the most iconic images of all time. Twice. And because Pep knows that the margin of error is, it's finite. It's finite. And he knows that those games against Liverpool are very, very key. Because I think Pep, he loves the challenge. Actually, Pep is a mad scientist. He's a psycho. He is weird. Like, whether he wants to admit it or not, Pep is a weirdo. He's a full-on, unadulterated weirdo. Like, this is just he's a freaking weirdo. And there is such a focus of micromanagement that he has. But I think that he's obsessed with Liverpool. He's obsessed with Klopp. And remember, this is a guy that thinks, overthinks. Maybe that's how he lost the UCL final. But I think in Klopp and in Liverpool, he sees, oh no, this is a truly, truly massive challenge. And Pep even said to himself that all those Barca trophies, all those Bayern trophies, the Barca UCL, all that stuff, is that his most satisfying win was the 98-point season when they won the league by 1 point. You know, like when you're playing a video game, if you finish it on normal difficulty, it's cool. But if you finish it on like legendary ultimate difficulty, there's just a greater satisfaction. So I think for Pep, because of how Liverpool pushed him every single week and how tough it was to really maintain that and to come out and succeed, that was just a great feeling of satisfaction. I think for Pep, he enjoys the incredible challenge that Klopp has. And I think for Klopp, he does know that he can get under Pep's skin. And he does know that our philosophy is an antithesis. Now, it can be an antithesis, but then Having an antithesis is one thing, execution is another thing, because yes, it may be an antithesis, but Pep knows it's an antithesis. So he's trying to work to ensure that that kryptonite doesn't really expose them. But Klopp doesn't know, and this goes back to his Dublin days, that no, the way that we play, the way that we move the ball, the way that we attack the space is what can always cause these guys issues. You know, it's what can always cause these guys issues, because people look at that game when I think City won 5-0 after Liverpool had already won the league. So it doesn't really matter. But I think that when both guys are at their best, and it's like it's not time for what's up, you can see that Liverpool caused City a lot of issues with how they play. So it is so great, because I think that, you see, Pep's philosophy isn't really an antithesis to Klopp's game, because these guys, Pep, they keep the ball and they move the ball around, and they just, so for Pep's thing is not really like exposing another team. It's just that once their plan A works to a high level, it's very difficult for any team. So it's almost like an antithesis for any team, because you can't get the ball off of them. They keep the ball, and they keep the ball until they freaking score. To watch the rest of this vid and gain access to more content crack, think about becoming a Patreon member. Click the link below in the description box, or head over to patreon.com/halfhope and gain access to more content crack. Let's ride.